You're not going to believe what I find in the backyard at this estate sale. Something that I've never seen before, and I'm pretty sure I never will again. It's a complete western town with a jail and a sheriff's office and a mercantile and a bathhouse. And two of them are loaded with merchandise. And it's a lot of fun to look around. It's a big, beautiful home and estate out in the country in North Carolina. You can see I just passed some welding equipment, and my eye catches this drafting table inside this workshop. My hope is I find mechanical pencils or compass sets or other equipment. So I'll look around the table to find my usual staples. As I'm looking around, I'm noticing how nice these walls are. Over to the left, I spot this beautiful wood lay. It's already sold, and there's some tools left hanging on the wall. A lot of this stuff has already been cleaned out pretty well. This was the second day of the sale. I got there a little bit later in the morning. I was actually at a few other sales I wanted to get to first. This room is behind that project room, and it appears to be where they did the gardening. Out back, you'll see a garden when I get around to going to the backyard later in the video. Here's kind of the bigger wood shop with the table saws and where all that heavier equipment would be. They gathered up a lot of little small things and put them on this table and on the workbenches. I think most of the heavier stuff and the most of the equipment they were selling was already sold by this time. They have some nice lumber there and some very nice cabinets. I think whoever built this also built in all these really nice workbenches, did a lot of woodworking. Including all the walls inside this garage. I'm looking through all the bins, trying to find something I could see a value that I haven't seen before, or something to resell. There's a whole shelf full of pesticides and paint equipment over on that last shelf. So I'm looking through the buckets and bins here on this workbench in the middle. I find a few things, but there's not a whole lot out here to pick through. I take one last look around and I decide to head into the house. As you can see in the garage, it looks more like an estate sale garage still set up here with a lot of household items. Little knickknacks on the right, a bunch of cups here in the center table, some coolers there on the ground. I give it all a quick look over. Spot some hats on the way in, make sure I see what they all are. Some books on the left. I glanced through them real quickly, didn't see anything that stuck out to me, but I'll come back later and give those a closer look. As I go into the kitchen breakfast area, there's no table there. Obviously, a lot of the furniture in this house is already gone. There's still a lot of dishes, other knickknacks and items here in the kitchen. I do take a quick look in some of the drawers, look on top, and I find out everything's pretty empty and out. Now into the formal dining area, beautiful big table, 8-chair. It's for sale, it's very nice. There's a Christmas tree there. There's another couple Christmas items here. I like the way they displayed them actually, because you can see that they light up if you want to buy them. And another one in this room. That little fireplace, little heater and surround actually was not for sale. It was very nice. Here's a room where they seem to have collected and put most of the items for sale. A lot of children's stuff. You can see books there on the second shelf. Some knickknacks were up top. The shelf I'm looking at now has a lot of games in it. I like to look through games to find more expensive collectible games. I also try to look through games I've never seen before. I'm always curious, even if they're not worth much, what the pieces look like. So I look at this Fast Freight game. I've never seen that one before. So give it a quick look. Check out the pieces in the board. Then I'm looking through the rest of the shelves. Nothing sticks out to me. There was a whole bunch of pictures leaning against the wall. I move around and then I see a box full of caps. I love finding caps. There's a nice lion's cap there. Bourbon. Some other interesting labels in there. I glanced over the table. Underneath I found a few more hats. And then I looked through these bucket kind of hats. Those, like the tan one I'm looking at there, when I find the Tilly ones, I always pick those up. They have a lifetime warranty. I have sold every one of those that I picked up. Here's some very nice, clean, well cared for clothes. It's more modern, so I'm not really interested in anything for myself, but I always keep an eye out for vintage clothing. Then there's some jackets and some ladies' tops over there. Here's some small makeup bags. Now I'm giving the bookshelves a look over. Some nice local subject matter. Some more modern books. Nothing sticks out to me on this pass, but I'll come back through later and go through it in a little more detail. But first, I want to make a run through the house, make sure I don't miss anything. I think it is an American Girl doll, and it turns out it is. I keep that in mind as I move on. Cutting back through the breakfast area. They had the stairwell to the bedrooms blocked off, but this stairwell went straight to a bonus room above the garage, and they had it available to walk up and items for sale. As you can see, my eye immediately caught this pinball machine in the corner. Don't see this very often. It's very nice. They wanted $1,200 for that, as you saw. They were pretty negotiable as I was leaving the sale also, so the items I got, they were willing to bargain some with. I look in the drawers of that desk, there's nothing in there, so they pretty much have everything out. There wasn't a whole mass of items. There was probably a little bit more on those buildings out back, that western buildings, than there actually is in the house. Free magazines, can't beat a free magazine. I head back downstairs and head back out to the garage area. Here I take another look around the carport. But I heard inside there were these buildings out back, so I wanted to not spend too much time in there so I could get out these buildings and see what's going on out there. And as you can see, there they are. There's one of the three buildings, the sheriff and jailhouse and the bathhouse, and over to the right is the mercantile house. You can see there's a fence around it. Whoever built this had a lot of fun and did a great job. I get to walk by this potting area, this potting bench. Very nice. All the stuff they had out here, of course, it was sold. He was helping someone load it up then. Cute bird.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Awesome. Hello. Did you sell it?
We did.
That's nice. Super nice. A lot of neat items out here.
You want to do this one?
They must have had a lot of fun gardening. Look at this wash tub they turned into a planter over here to the left. That's really neat. Now we're walking through this fence out into the area. There's a big fire pit, as you can see to the right. And the first building is the mercantile building. I'm walking up to it not knowing if anything's inside. I was happy to see when the doors were open and that there were items in there. It looked like a really fun little area of space, shed to work or hang out and read in, be around nostalgic items that you liked, or even a playhouse. A Zenith radio there. I was expecting kind of more antique items from the period, like more Western country kind of items in there. But as you can see, it's a lot of more modern things. I don't think an old mercantile would have, you know, Jane Fonda albums and some of the others I saw in there. So, but it was a really great room to hang out in. The porch was awesome as well, rocking chair on there. And all three of these small buildings had porches. The bathhouse. Now I'm making my way over to the bath building. As you can see, there's stuff out on the porch, a chair there, washing center. I'm looking at here. I was happy to see there was items in here as well. There was a mix of items, nothing too old, but there were a little bit older items in here. Thought that was a neat picture. I look over all the shelves and make sure I don't miss anything that I want to pick up immediately. Check out this box. It's got some art supplies items in there. So I'm just browsing around, looking for anything I can find I immediately want to pick up.
Doing all right?
Gentleman comes in right behind me, and he apparently sold this skill saw.
Oh, that's a nice little cabinet.
And he's rolling it out. There's a very nice cabinet it was mounted to, by the way. So whoever gets that's going to not realize it's mounted to that nice cabinet with wheels on it. They're going to get that too. There's another great piece of furniture. I've opened the drawers. Only stuff in the top drawer here. And I glanced through the others. That one had paint supplies in it. And I think that one would probably be a great candidate for refinishing. So now I leave the bathhouse. Next, the sheriff and jail building. This is a fun sign here. Please check your guns at the door. I tried to look through the cracks. I didn't see anything there. I did see a hatchet up by the corner of the window. That's a fun little feature. So are the bars. And I thought it was really cool, the limb that was the side piece for that chair arm. But I go inside and I find out this is really just a facade for another two-car garage where he stored lawnmowers and other kinds of equipment. There's a few posters hanging in there, and as you can see, there's this small vehicle in there and a couple tools and extension cords. I don't find anything of real value on the shelf. There's a ladder. I heard a gentleman asking about that actually inside, wanting to buy it. So I make my way out of this door, and I'm just pretty much amazed at what I saw here. I thought it was a great estate sale. I couldn't believe what I ran to in the backyard. I hope you enjoyed this one. It's been a lot of fun. I'll never see this again. Thanks for watching Eagle Eye Picker, and we'll catch you on the next one.